Live. There we are. Hey.
Live.
Hey, Jason.
Hi. There you are.
Well, what are you doing?
Well, I'm so glad that you dropped in on me. I'm just doing what I do on Monday mornings. I'm working, Miss Katie. What are you doing?
Let's have a chat. Now I'm thinking, so hi everybody. I'm Katie and that is
Jason.
Yep. And I'm a real estate advisor and you're a fancy pants
Mortgage lender.
Yeah, you are. So I feel shiny today. Look shiny. I feel very shiny.
No, not shiny. But I can tell you, I think we're having internet connections. It's yeah.
It's not on my side.
It might be on my side. See, where I'm at is different than where you're at. I'm in beautiful snowy Prescott, and so
I wish you could show it to us.
I know. Oh my goodness, there's a flurry going on right out that window. It's blown. I've never. Yeah.
I'm trying to look on here and see if we're getting. Oh, you know what I don't have on here? Our banner.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to create that really quickly here. Okay, so let's talk about some things first. Jason, tell us what's going on up in Prescott right now while I get this little banner ready.
So in Prescott right now, it is snowing. We kind of have. See, here's the thing. I'm too old. I missed snow days growing up in Phoenix. Never had a snow day in my life. I would have a snow day today if I were a kid, but I'm not a kid. So, and I can work from my desk inside here, so it's not really a snow day, but it's a snow day because nobody's going anywhere. We woke up this morning, the vehicles are buried, and I shoveled snow yesterday for the first time in my life.
Did you?
How about that? Yes. 40.
So did you get sore?
No, not at all. It wasn't that bad. I don't have a huge driveway, so it wasn't a massive deal. But as I was doing it, I was thinking, so many people on earth are just accustomed to doing this. And somehow I lived in this, privileged place of the world that, I can get to my 40s and have never had to shovel snow a day in my life. And so yesterday I did that. First time ever.
You're not in your 40s. Don't lie to everybody, Jason.
That's true. I know. You know what? You're right. Forget that. 30s easily.
Exactly. 40s is the new 20s. Okay, so maybe it is connection on my end, but how do I look to everybody? Do I look clear?
You look clear to me.
Well, good. I had to get a new computer, and well, there's other things we can talk about. We'll talk about that later. But so I was thinking we'll talk about our thing, and then I'll share what's in the news because it's kind of funny and interesting, which is always the best, right? So we'll keep you guys on your tippy toes thinking about that. So, and Jason, you can chime in with this because right now in this competitive market, it's a seller's market, okay? And so what are some things that you can do to make the best offer is what I'm thinking about. And then we can talk about the types of loans too. So we can kind of intersperse it in there, I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I made these little things on Canva because I'm super fancy. Yeah, I am. Okay, so I have eight little rules that I came up with just because I like the number 8. It's my favorite number. It's the infinity sign. Kate the Great, number 8. I'm just saying. So make your offer as clean as possible. You've heard that, right, Jason?
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, what that basically means is, make sure that when you're offering that you're coming in, with every single box checked. And if you're going to be asking for seller concessions in this market, you're not going to get it. That's probably immediately going to put you at the bottom of the deal.
Yep.
If your lender doesn't check all the boxes, if they haven't done their due diligence, that's not going to get it. And here's the other thing. This is an often overlooked thing. If you can make an offer that's not contingent on the sale of your house, you're going to have an advantage. So ask your lender, can you qualify to buy the new house before your old house sells? That is super, super important because if you can do that, that's going to give you a leg up. That's what it means, keeping your offer clean, no contingency.
Well, yes, I have that as another thing too, though, actually. So yes, you're right. So all of these are going to come into play because clean offer is, like you said, no contingencies. So not having to sell your house to buy one. not asking for concessions. And even sometimes concessions means closing costs. So sometimes that even means don't ask for stuff in the house. Don't say, I really want that patio furniture. Don't say, please leave the bed in the bedroom. I don't know why anybody would really want that, but you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So make it more appealing, make it more appealing to a seller. Okay, so here is the next one, number 2. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, it keeps making me. Are you sure you want to share the screen? Yeah, I'm sure. All right, this one's going to be interesting for you, Jason, because I hear this all the time. More earnest money. Put down more earnest money. So the thing is, I've faced this a lot as a real estate advisor, and I'll have listing agents. So back in the day, people were making, you have to offer 20% on a, which is what we're going to talk about, on a conventional loan, correct? And then you can tell us what the actual things are now if you don't want to put that down. But for some reason, sellers see when you put more earnest money down that you are more serious about it, because you can get your earnest money back. And don't talk about the other thing, Jason, because that's my next one, because I know you about earnest money. So talk about earnest money alone, and don't say the other thing that some people do that is really serious, okay? Because that's next. So as a lender, Jason, why is that more appealing to sellers, even though they can get it back?
Because you're putting more money at risk. I mean, regardless of what the contingencies are, an earnest deposit, think about my definition, earnest. Earnest means good faith. It means an investment. It means something that you're moving across the table that says, hey, I have serious interest in purchasing your property. So if you're in a situation where you put more money down, deposited at risk in earnest for purchasing your home relative to somebody else, that just says that you're pretty serious. So it's kind of a big deal.
It's kind of, I don't know how to say this, but it's kind of a big deal in the real estate market.
It's kind of a big deal.
So we have, now I forgot what my first one was already. So far we have
Clean offer.
Make your offer as clean as possible and earnest deposit. Now here's the big deal with the earnest deposit, because this is the kicker. Are you ready for this? All right. Hello. I just sit here and try to look good while I'm getting these pictures. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Boom! What does this mean? Make your earnest money hard. Oops, I shouldn't have a period in there. Ex-English teacher, I made a mistake. So this is a big deal, and this has been happening a lot, okay? So Jason, what does that mean?
Basically, it means I'm going to put my money down, and I can't get it back if something goes wrong. So I'm going to purchase a home, and I know that I'm going to do it, and I know that there's no chance that that home is going to fall out. I might want to consider making that earnest money hard. Now, this is you saying that I'm willing to take the ultimate risk. So if I were going to make an earnest deposit of $2,000 or $5,000 or something along those lines, what happens if I say, look, if I don't fulfill my end of the bargain, if I don't end up buying your house, you take my money and you keep it. Yeah. That's what this is saying. And that actually is a tremendous advantage versus anybody else who's saying, well, you know, I still want to get that back if something goes wrong. People are doing it. It's the market. That's what's going on.
Because the seller will look at it this way. So we had a listing. So I have Sally, who's on my team, you know her. So we had a listing and we had an offer with $10,000 hard, money going hard, okay? Then it was after the inspection period. So I'll get into that in a minute too, because you don't want any ambiguity there. You have a 10-day period for buyers to get their inspections done. And then you have possibly 10, 11, 12 days after that going back and forth. So is it the initial 10-day period or is it the whole time? Because then really you're putting $10,000 down and it's not really something that's going to not come back to them. Do you know what I mean? So as a seller and a listing agent, you need to make sure that it's not ambiguous, like I said. So you need to say, okay, well, we're going to stipulate that we literally mean the first 10 days. Once you give us the BINSR, that money's ours, okay? And so for a seller, that's really appealing because in this competitive market, what that means is if something happens, and it still gives them that initial 10-day time to give, like if they don't like the house, they'll just back out and they'll get their money back, right? But if they decide to move forward and it comes up later and maybe the appraisal is low, there's that earnest money they're going to have to follow through. That earnest money is going to be a seller. So it makes it really appealing to a seller. Makes it hard for a buyer for sure, but it's a really, it's something that is appealing to sellers, I would say. So the next one is, now this falls in line with this, right? So here we go. Number 5 or 4, sorry. Offer above asking price.
Yes.
When can you do that, Jason? And here's the thing where we're going to talk about a couple of the loans too, because can everybody offer over asking price? And if you're doing an FHA loan, can someone offer above asking price? And what does that mean for the loan and the appraisals kind of thing?
The answer to that question is anybody can offer above asking price. Anybody can do it. The concern that's going to happen is what does it mean when the appraisal happens? So here's the best way to look at it. Whether it's FHA, whether it's conventional, it doesn't matter what loan program that you're talking about. If you're making the minimum down payment, which on a conventional loan can be as low as 3%. If it's an FHA, it can be as low as 3.5%, just like that. Right? I like it. What it means is if it appraises below what it is that you've offered, well, now there's an issue, okay? Because the lender is going to lend a maximum of 96.5% or 97%, whatever the appraised value is. So you can offer over. Now, where this ends up working out to your favor, let's say that I'm putting 20% down. I'm just going to use round numbers. Let's say that I'm buying a $200,000 house. Not that those exist anymore. Just pretend that it is. At $200,000, and I was putting 20% down. That means I'm getting a loan amount of $160,000. But let's pretend that property appraises at $190,000. Okay.
Right. So that's 10 low than you offered.
Right. Here's the deal. I could still buy that house. I could get a $160,000 loan amount on a $190,000 appraised value. It doesn't mean that I'm at 80% LTV, so I'd have to add mortgage insurance to that because I'm no longer putting 20% down, putting less than 20%, and I'm giving $10,000 above appraised value. But I could still close on that house. And
so wait a minute. LTV for the lay people, what does that mean, Jason?
Loan to value. It means your loan amount to the value of the property.
So does that mean that if somebody's using an FHA loan and they put $40,000 down on a $200,000 house and it comes in $10,000 low, that they have to come up with that extra money, like waiving the approval contingency?
No, they don't have to come up with that.
Yeah, that's so confusing.
They can still put the $40,000 down and they can still get that deal done. So yeah, here's what it means. It means that the loan to value, instead of being 80%, okay, so loan to value, loan amount $160,000, value $200,000, that's the purchase price. 160 divided by 200 is 80. It means that we're going to use the 190, and so now the loan to value, instead of being 80, well, now it's 84.2. That's all that it means.
And then the only thing we face then is either the seller has to come down, they have to meet halfway in the middle, or the buyer has to come up with that money, right?
Well, the buyer's already coming up with $40,000, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah. So it's the exact same it's the exact same thing. It just means
from a seller's perspective, though, they're getting $10,000 less. So if they don't want to come down, it's not going to be.
Yeah, we're assuming that the seller isn't going to come down because right now in this market they're not. They could turn around and sell it to somebody else for $200,000. So the seller's going to say, "Pay me my $200,000," and they don't really care how the loan works as long as they get $200,000. That's all they really care about. What we're saying is in that situation, the borrower can still close on that loan, still put $40,000 down, and still get the financing.
Right. Or if they choose, they can put a little less down to make it work and that kind of a thing, right?
Of course. Yep.
Yeah. See, you're so smart. Okay. What's up next? What number are we on? 5? Yes. No. Yes. I'm just talking to myself here, guys. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Boop. Okay. Have a hefty down payment. Now, this is kind of what we were just talking about because this, and Jason will explain it, if you have 2 loans at $200,000 and someone's putting $100,000 down and someone else is putting $3,000 down, what do you think as a seller? Like, what's that stronger offer? Because like Jason said, if it doesn't come in at value, instead of putting $100,000 down, they can choose to come up to that and put another 10. Instead of putting $100,000 down, they put $90,000 down, something like that, right, Jason? Like, how would you explain that?
Yeah, well, the way I'd explain it is in that situation, let's say I was putting $100,000 down and it came in low, I'd still put my $100,000 down. It just means my loan to value would be different. The only thing that changes, it's just one number in a loan file, that nobody other than the loan officer really cares about. So if you're putting a limited down payment down, the minimum down payment, a low appraisal means you're toast. It means it's not going to go through. But if you're putting a large down payment down, it means that you can put that large down payment down and still close on your house and very little changes. It's a number inside a loan file. Again, only person who cares about it is this guy. You still close your house, go down the road.
Boom. So there's lots to it. There's lots to it. But here we have a couple more here. This is really fun, Jason. It's fun talking about this. So hopefully it's educational to everybody else. So here's the thing that's been something that's been more common as of late, and it's adding an escalation clause. And what that means, and I've done this a few times with people. Well, say the house is $300,000. Someone says, we're going to offer $310,000, or we'll offer at value $300,000, and we're going to offer $1,000 or $1,500 over every written verified offer up to like $315,000 or something. Let's say something like that. Yeah. So how does that look to a seller, Jason? Why is that beneficial?
Well, because it gives you room to go up, right? Mm-hmm. So what you're trying to do at the end of the day, you're not negotiating against the seller. Let's just say that right out of the bat.
That's really important. You are not negotiating against the seller.
That's exactly right. You're negotiating against every other buyer who wants the same house that you do. So when you add an escalation clause, it just basically says, this is what I want to pay. But hey, guess what? If you're willing to pay more, well, then I'll pay more than that. If you're willing, I'll pay more than that. And it means that if you have an offer that says that you're going to go up and you put a cap on it, right? Like there's a cap that exists, but you're saying I'm willing to continue to increase my offer to be top dog up until a certain value amount. So it gives you a little bit of an advantage and not just letting you go in at one price point and then hoping that it's the best.
See, there's a lot to it. I think a lot of people think real estate lending is easy. Okay. So like I said, we have two more, I think. So here's also because this is something that's happening waiving the appraisal contingency. Okay. So that's sort of what we've touched on a little bit before. So this comes in really handy, particularly with an escalation clause, because the people are willing to pay above what the listing agent and seller decided was probably going to be the appraised value. So $315,000 appraised, pay that additional amount to whatever that appraised value is. Who are the more possible first?
So, Katie, you're breaking up a little bit, and I couldn't hear exactly what you're saying. But what I can tell you about this, the way that you should think about waiving the appraisal contingency is understand from the seller's perspective, whenever you write a contract in Arizona, there are essentially three protections that you have in the contract. There are three contingencies that exist. The first is the inspection period. We talked about it. There's 10 days that you have for any reason you want to get out of it, but that would be a reason that the seller would be at risk. You can get out because of the inspection. Second would be the appraisal. If it appraises low, you have the legal right to get out of that contract. The third is the loan contingency, saying I have to be able to qualify for the home loan, and if I can't, I can get out of the contract. So what we're doing is when we waive the appraisal contingency, we're just going to the seller and we're basically saying, look, there's three different ways that I can get out of this contract. I'm willing to waive the appraisal, which in most cases is the most significant contingency that they have because it's the one that's the most in question. So by taking that off of the table, what you're doing is you're eliminating risk on the side of the seller. And that's why it is they like it. Basically says we don't really care if an appraiser agrees with our value. It basically means we're going to buy it regardless of what the value is because to us, that's what it is that it's worth.
Right. Yeah, and I don't remember what I said. So it must be breaking up because of the storm here or something, but I'm only breaking up here and there, right? It's not like constant?
Yeah, just every now and again. Yeah.
All right, so I had said something about that. If you have the escalation clause, and it's good to add the appraisal, waiving the appraisal contingency because you're offering an amount above that anyway. And there's another thing we did with clients of mine is we offered, and I forgot to put this in here, but we offered to pay $10,000 more than the appraised value. And so that could come in handy for you buyers out there, because the house was listed at 390 or 400. No, it's listed at 400,000. He offered 420. Said he would pay 10,000 over the appraised value. The appraisal came in at 380. You remember these people, and
Yes.
they bought it for 390. So instead of having other people with escalation clauses in that, he got it actually for less. So that was like the biggest celebration in my real estate year this year. Okay,
Yeah.
last one. Hopefully I'm not breaking up. And then we have some fun stuff to talk about. Boom, boom, boom. So Jason had touched on this a bit already. Pay attention to the details. Okay. So that means you, as the buyer's agent, seller's agent, and buyers, sellers, all of you need to pay attention. Don't just sign stuff. Make sure that you're going over those details. Make sure all the check boxes are checked, like Jason said. If you accidentally forget something, so say it's not a seller's market and you wanted to ask for 2% in concession. So Jason, on a $200,000 house, how much would that be?
$4,000.
So this buyer needs $4,000, and you forget to put that in there. Guess who's paying for it?
Mm-hmm.
The agent, right? So,
Right.
And just make sure that it looks good to people, and that you're covering all of your bases in there. So if you're adding that, what is it called? The addendum. Starts with an A. Anyway, if you're adding all of the papers, if there are HOA documents in the MLS, make sure that you're sending that with it. Make sure that you're sending that they have the lead-based painting. There's so many times agents don't have it out there. So you, as a buyer's agent, if they don't have the HOA forms and it has an HOA, you send page 3 and you make sure that all the things are done. Do you have anything to add to that, Jason?
No, it just, the details are where it's at. The one thing I would say, especially when you're going in to make an offer, really, really important that whoever it is that you have advocating for you, hopefully it's us, but
Yeah.
that they understand how to navigate that conversation as well, right? Like, we want to be able to call and explain, hey, listen, I checked this box. I want to explain to you why that's significant, right?
Oh, yeah.
Self-employed income is difficult in lending these days. Just having command of the forms and knowing the details is going to give you an advantage when you negotiate, especially if you have a team that knows really how to articulate why those things are important, why they're completed the way that they are, why it means they're going to have an expectation of a smooth transaction. That can help you win a contract versus losing one.
Yes. Okay, so now we're done with this and we're going to talk about some fun stuff. But Jason, tell them basically, you said already, for people, it's basically, I would say, this is why Jason and I are a dynamic duo, because we go over all of the options with you as a buyer and a seller. He helps both sides. So we had a Zoom call, Saturday?
Yeah.
People that are going to sell and buy. So there's a lot of things going on right now, guys, that we can do to help you make sure that you have the easiest transaction. So when people are looking at loans, FHA loans, conventional loans, a lot of people think, I'm just going to get an FHA loan because I'm not going to have to come in with any money. So if you can give us a real quick rundown, because I know there's a lot to it, on how you kind of explain that to someone.
Here's the best way that I'd explain it. There's a lot of different ways to put loans together. There's a lot of different options, even inside of an FHA loan program. Are you using down payment assistance? Are you not? What are the benefits? What are the different things that
What's going on over there?
I have? They're trying to call. Rates are so low. They're calling me all the time.
Oh my God, these people make sense. Jason, give me a loan.
I know, right? Here's the thing. The way that we do it is, it's not a, hey, yes, you qualify. No, you don't. The idea is that it's a dialogue. It's, hey, here are the different options. Here's what's good about these options. Here's the things that you need to know. Here's the things that are not so good about this option. Here would be the benefits if you did it this way. What we really want to do is we want to make the process not, just checking boxes. We want to make it a dialogue. And what happens when we make it a dialogue and we're going back and forth? Two things happen. First of all, the idea is that our customers become more comfortable because they have a greater understanding of what it is that they're getting into. They have a greater understanding of how these different loan programs affect the way that they qualify down the road, all those things. And what we're trying to get to is a point where through that dialogue, our people say, you know what? Hey, Jason, I think this would work for us. This makes sense for our family. And when we get to that point, we know that we have exhausted the options. We've got something that they both understand and that's going to work for them. That's the idea.
Okay, awesome. So now you guys have like a pretty good idea, I think. Okay. All right. So I like to look at the news. See what's up. Jason, people are just calling you like crazy.
Yes,
do you recognize this fella? And now it's a very blurry picture because that's just what it is, because he's so elusive. Who's that? You know who that is, right?
Yeah, that's the Yeti. That's big.
No, yeah, Yeti's in the mountains, like the snow, right? It's Bigfoot,
Right.
Sasquatch.
Bigfoot,
kind of
Sasquatch, yes. I met a guy who said that he had seen Bigfoot before.
Tell us that story really quickly, because I have it for you.
Very, very convinced. So we were at a camp for my kids, because I have 3,200 kids. And anyways, the camp host, we were playing 2 truths and a lie, right? Have you ever played that game?
Yeah.
Say 3 things, 2 of them are true, 1 of them's a lie. Anyways, the fascinating thing about him was that he said, I have seen Bigfoot. And of course, we all guessed that that was the lie, but that was not his lie, and he was super convinced. It was awesome. Anyways, story for another day, but it was great.
Yeah. Well, if you have any stories, it's amazing. I think I've been obsessed with Sasquatch. Like, I always watch documentaries and stuff. So as I'm looking at the news today, this comes up, and I can't even believe this is a thing. I have 2 different articles to share with you about it. So right here, okay. Does it show you what? Hang on a second. It's always weird. Okay. Oklahoma bill, let's see, would establish a Bigfoot hunting season. So that's just a guy on stilts, taking a picture, but it says an Oklahoma state representative introduced a bill that would establish a hunting season for one of the state's most infamous species of alleged native wildlife, Bigfoot. Okay. And so this representative says that it would call on the Oklahoma Wildlife Commission to designate a Bigfoot hunting season. The mythical ape has been the subject of numerous sightings in southern Oklahoma. I did not know that. I thought he was only like in Washington, Canada, places like that. And it says, if the bill is passed by the legislature and signed by the governor, it would take effect November 1st. Okay? Yeah. And so the thing is, what it will do is it will bring, let's see, I've got this other article right here. Oh, wait, no, I don't have it, I guess. Another article from ABC News says that basically what it's going to do is hopefully draw more people to their state because they think their state's amazing. And it would only allow trapping and that he wants to be able to secure $25,000 as a bounty if you catch Bigfoot. So, and then they just wanted to be sure to tell us that television station KOCO, that the agency uses science-driven research and doesn't recognize Bigfoot. But that's what's funny is that, like, there's all kinds of laws and stuff that are out there that are just weird, that aren't something that to do anymore. It has to do with weird stuff, but it's just funny that they would actually pass a law, right? And this is like super recent, like right now. So Here's the other thing, this guy. So this is the guy from a long time ago. Now imagine you're walking through a forest and you see a foot this big. Like, how do you think people explain this kind of stuff? Like, it's not a bare foot. It's not a human foot.
That's a big foot.
That's someone, they out there, making a ground and whatnot. And then, of course, we, as people, always doing things like this because I've probably been accurate depiction of what he actually would look like in real life, because that blurry picture, we just don't have it. And then the FBI actually, can you see this? Is that on there? Okay, hang on. I got to stop this, share this. So the FBI actually, back in the day, 1970s Bigfoot investigation.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah. So, I mean, who out there believes in Bigfoot would like to see this kind of thing? And it says it made public 22 documents from it that they looked into the possible existence of Bigfoot in the 1970s. Federal investigators opened on a request from this guy named Peter Burns. So it might have been that guy with the thing. And so they have all this stuff like this. They have an actual document right here. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Can't read it really, but it's just talking about all the things. And then they found hair, and they did all these investigations and stuff. And then they found out that the hair was actually deer fur or whatever. Okay.
Deer fur.
So I have one more to share with you because it's funny. It is a commercial. You know, Flo. This one.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Listen to it. It's really funny.
People used to care. Yeah, they'd come all the way out here just for a blurry photo of me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wait, what's that?
That's just a low battery warning.
Right.
Now it's all, check out my RV and let's go four-wheeling. Maybe there's a little part of me that wanted to be seen.
Well, Progressive helps people save when they bundle their home with their outdoor vehicles. So they've got other things to do now, Bigfoot.
Wait, what did you just call me?
Bigfoot?
My name is Daryl.
That to me is hysterical because he looks at his foot and he's like, my name is Daryl. So people are fascinated with Bigfoot. It was just something fun in the news. And we'll have to pay attention and see if Oklahoma actually makes that a law, like hunting season.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So that's all we have. Do you have anything to add? Do you want to add something about your week, some positivity, something like that?
You know, just I tell you what, just be kind, be good to each other. You know, it's a small world out there, and you know, there's too much craziness, in my opinion. We can't change the world, but we can change one thing, and that's the person that stares right back at you in the mirror. So do the best with you. Everything else has a way of working itself out. So
yep.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that. And then just don't give up. I mean, it's been difficult since the start of the COVID thing. Yes, I did share ways to get into a house right now. That's not the way it's going to be always. If you don't have the money, just save up. Talk to Jason. Talk to me. We'll figure it out, and we'll put you on a plan.
Yeah.
To do that, and just stay the course, because it's all. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So let's just stay positive, and let's just do things to make ourselves and the world a little better.
That's right. Do the best you can.
Boom. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Check this out, PC, which PC does not mean politically correct.
Negative.
See you next week.
See you guys.
Hey, Jason, I love your socks. I forgot to say that.
Katie, I love your socks.
You pretty much have the best socks in the entire world.
Pretty much, I think your socks are awesome.
Bye, everybody.